Juniper Networks is ramping up its focus on AI. Now, the technology has really become a cornerstone to the company's strategy. They're using it to drive long-term growth and also improve profitability. Here to discuss that and much more, we want to bring in Rahim. He's the CEO of Juniper Networks. So Rami, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Seana.
So let's talk about those AI investments, because that really has been the hype word, the word that everyone, the buzzword that people have focused on over the last 12 months. In terms of what it's done for Juniper's business, what are you seeing?
So AI is definitely not a new thing for Juniper. We've actually been investing in this technology for the last 5 years. Our AI-driven enterprise business has been performing phenomenally well. In fact, our mystified, what we call our mystified solution, which is driven by AI technology that's essentially enabling us to run networks more efficiently, delight our network operators, delight the end user, has grown over the last two reported quarters approximately 100% year over year. This doesn't happen by accident. We're taking share at an unprecedented rate, and this is proof that AI is not just in its hype cycle, it's proof that AI is actually delivering real results for our end customers.
So because of that, you are already seeing a return, you're seeing the impact from AI, your investments there on your revenue. How is that then shaping your strategy going forward, those future AI initiatives?
Yeah, it's a great question. So thus far where we have benefited is in what we call AI operations. We have an AI engine that's driving network operations and improving the experience to the end customer and to the network operator. The future, I think we continue to do that. We will continue to benefit from the differentiation that we're seeing through AI, but we add yet another area of investment that I think can represent a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and that's around the AI infrastructure, right? Anybody that is leveraging AI needs to essentially tap into large clusters of GPUs that are connected through networking. Juniper is really good at building high performance, highly efficient, highly reliable networks, and we're doing that to capture this clustering opportunity for the AI infrastructure in the future. That's a next new big opportunity for our company.
And because of maybe some of these initiatives, you also had recently announced a bit of a restructuring. It also included layoffs. What's your message to investors in terms of why this makes sense, some of the strategies, some of the moves that you have done so far, why that makes sense for Juniper in the long run?
Yeah, we had to do a relatively small restructuring effort. We obviously don't like to do these things, but we do them for a couple of reasons. One is we are committed to not just growth, but profitable growth for our investors. But even more importantly is to ensure that we're investing on the right side of industry change. So essentially we are investing and hiring in new areas around cloud-delivered capabilities, AI technologies, data science that will ensure that our solutions are going to be differentiated today and in the future.
When it comes to some of the strength that you've been seeing in your business, enterprise really sticking out, especially in your most recent quarter, in terms of that momentum as we look ahead to next year, what do you see?
So the investments in AI have mostly today benefited our enterprise business. And Juniper has traditionally been known as a company that serves service providers and cloud providers. In the last reported quarter in Q3, enterprise, for the first time in the company's history, became over 50% of total revenue. And I expect that enterprise will continue to grow faster than any other of our segments. That's great, because right now, our superpower as a company is the diversity of our business. We don't just rely on one or two market verticals. We rely on three key customer verticals: service provider, cloud provider, and enterprise. And that gives us the resilience to overcome any industry headwinds and macro challenges that might affect one or two of those verticals.
Talk to us a little bit more about some of those macro challenges, the fact that there's so much uncertainty looking ahead to next year and beyond. As the CEO of Juniper, how are you evaluating, or I guess how are you approaching that uncertainty in terms of some of the decisions that you're making?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, I think our superpower is our diversity. And right now, for example, cloud providers and service providers are experiencing a period of headwinds because they're digesting a massive amount of infrastructure that they have bought over the last several years. They need to consume it, to deploy it, and so on. Enterprise, relatively speaking, is much more robust. And for that reason, we're relying on enterprise, which again now represents the bulk of our business, to achieve sustainable long-term revenue growth.
Rami, one of the topics topic points that came up on your most recent earnings call was inventory, the levels that you're seeing there, elevated inventory levels. In terms of that normalizing, what does the timeline look like for that?
Yeah, so next year revenue growth will be muted because of the fact that much of this year's revenue growth has been from the depletion of that inventory. I think as you get into next year, inventory levels should be sort of back to normal. And at that point, orders will start to recover, which is why we expect orders across the board in all of our customer verticals to recover meaningfully next year.
As you look ahead to 2024, what would you say, or can you identify maybe the biggest risk or some of the biggest challenges that are ahead for Juniper?
I honestly feel really good about our competitive position. Our differentiation that we enjoy hasn't been this strong since the birth of our company that I was fortunate enough to see, close to 30 years ago. It's those factors that are outside of our control. How long will it take for the digestion period in the cloud provider and service provider to play out? I am very confident that cloud providers will need to eventually invest in their networks. It's just going to take a bit of time, and that timing is a little bit uncertain right now.
Rami, Rahim, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here, CEO of Juniper Networks.
Thanks so much.
All right, our thanks to Seana Smith, who was at the Barclays Technology Conference with that wide-ranging interview with Juniper CEO Rami Rahim.